Men need to talk more. Hear that all the time, don't we? I'm not convinced I believe it, you know. We don't need to talk more. We need to speak better. We need to communicate better. It's not the quantity and the volume of talking that we need to improve on. It's the quality of what we actually talk about. Men don't want happiness. We want peace. That inner turmoil that 2 men every minute globally lose the battle to. It's not an emotion, it's a lack of them. It's an absence of them. A prolonged absence of emotion, of value, of task. That's how we're wired. It's in our DNA. We need task, we find our value there, and we need appreciation, not thanks. Thanks and pity go against everything about manhood. We don't need either of those things. We need appreciation, a tip of the hat, attaboy, but we revolve around the end result, and that end result for most of us is peace. When the kids are in bed at night asleep, and your wife's sat reading a book or doing whatever she's doing, and you just sit down and you're calm and peace. That, for a man, is perfection. Everything's good. But for a lot of men, there's deep-rooted fundamental problems. And I'm really sorry to say this, it doesn't sound good out loud, but talking about it more. Guys, it hasn't worked. It's not the route forward. We need to change that line. Men need to talk more. It's not right. Men need to speak better. We need to communicate better. It's on us. And it's there in the messaging. It's there in those adverts that we see time and time again. It's almost cliche now. You've got 2 men sat together. One of them's talking, yap, yap, yap. The other one isn't saying much. And then at the end, it's the one that was saying everything that isn't there anymore. We've seen it so many times now over the last decade. And I'm not saying that some men don't need to just open up a little bit more than they already do. It's not talking more. It's not, a word more we need to change. Better. We need to communicate better. If you've been there, in that grey, that deep grey, there's not much objective takes that you can give men when they're in that place. You're applying the logic to the illogical. You're applying objective to subjective. My friend lost his battle earlier this year. And it wasn't through lack of trying. It wasn't through lack of talking. For him, it was lack of purpose. He didn't feel needed anymore. Now, the hesitancy behind many people, including myself, addressing this is we know fundamentally it doesn't sit right to give pity to people or cement their negative emotion through our language and pity and thanks all the time. It doesn't work. When you are in that worst possible state, pity and thanks mean nothing. The ladder out of there, the ladder out of that pit, unfortunately, is work. And when you're in that position, working means nothing. Graft means nothing. Family means nothing. Love means nothing. Blue skies mean nothing. Nothing means anything. There is no emotion. There is no subjectivity. There is no objectivity. There is no logic. There is no illogic. It means nothing. Nothing means nothing. You're not talking your way out of that. No amount of words or talking. The morbid side of that coin is that action is the route that two men every minute take action. They take action to get out of that position. Now, what we need to do is turn that coin. It's the coin of action, but it's action in the other direction. It's action to find value, purpose, and that feeling that we need. Not that we want, because when we're feeling that way, we don't want anything. There's nothing you want. It's up to others to help you find that value and appreciate that and give you that task and give you that value. And eventually we move on and it'll always be there. It'll always be in the back. But we've chosen one route of action over the other. And ultimately it comes down to that one word of action. Not more words. Not more talking. Not more pity. Again, at the offset, I said this is a hot take. And it is. But like everyone listening to this, I've had friends over the years that have lost the battle. Like I said, one of my mates, Sam, earlier in the year. It isn't an easy fix. It's not an easy problem. Man, if it was an easy problem, we could fix it. And we wouldn't have two men every minute of every hour of every day taking their life. It's not an easy conversation. It's not an easy job. It's a fucking hard one. It should be at the top of everyone's list right now. And one way that I think we can help better is to encourage men to talk better with better communication. Not more. But that feedback loop that men need, let's focus on that for a minute. We need task. That's where we seek our value and we see that end result. We see that reward is within us. We don't need to be thanked. We sit back. My granddad used to sit in that chair in the corner of his room at events and at weddings and at, at his house, watching the sport, watching his grandkids play. He used to sit back on his chair, not really talk much. And I get it. I get it now. I'm 40. That was probably when he was in his 60s, 70s, 80s. He could sit back in peace and look at what he'd achieved. He didn't need thanks. So find that value, find that task, and speak better, not more.